Welcome back, friends. Last guy here, and I accidentally hit the name of accomplice button, and I have no clue, but let's, for like 3 minutes, let's just make a guess who that is right now. But I assume we don't know who the accomplice is. Let's go. And Jinx is messaging me at the worst time. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. But that inconsistency itself is a clue. Counsel. My lord? You have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, your answer, please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Trevor's accomplice? Like, right there, they already told me, right there. It has to be the coroner. And we know there's a Courtney on both of these things, so go for it. Bam! The name of the person in question is... What's wrong, my Nipponese friend? Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that. Of course I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me. I'm sure we'll be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Miss Sasato. The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy. Alright then, here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, Counsel? Now. Here we go. The person who colluded with Mr. Trevor in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe. What? What the blazes are you talking about? Dr. Scythe? The head of forensic investigation team? And the coroner who conducted the autopsy on the victim? Robber. We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? It can only have been in that team's presence. It's essential that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. Robber. Corn. And sleep. You've got a nerve, lad. Standing up there and dragging the yard's name through the mud. I didn't mean to. I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. How dare you call her a criminal? My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once. A grave problem? Yeah, how'd you move it? Oh my word! Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? What? Certainly if the birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, the cage must also have contained a body. And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman. That's true. If my argument is that there were 2 bird cages, then there must have been 1 person inside each. But I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? You do, bro! What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? Check the court record. Check. Okay, that was a weird delay in control. What the hell? Alright, do we have anything about the wax figure? Okay, so either the head or name the lady. Like, it's one or the other. Like, go to people. So we can either name to spell, or we can go with the wax head. Like, one or the other. The problem is I don't know what's the correct movement here, so we're going to scum save. Because I don't want to, like, lose out here because of whatever. Okay, so there's two things I can try. We're going to try naming someone, we're going to try evidence. Let's try naming someone first. Well, let's try presenting evidence first. Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asmon's body double. Good gracious, evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering counsel. The court is expecting a name. If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would have only seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha! The body double inside the second birdcage was... this guy! How about I can just present it? Take that! We know that the victim, Mr. Asmund, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage. And therefore, he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contained something else. What's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the crystal tower. Yes, Counsel, according to a somewhat elaborate version of events. And that body double inside the second birdcage was in fact... It's alright, Miss Naruhodo. You're ready for this. Just steel yourself, and come out with it. Thank you, Mrs. Sato. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was... as unbelievable as it may seem. That thing there! What is it doing there? What is it doing there? Eyes closed. Why is it here? I don't know why it's there. Objection. Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nipponese friend. Now tell me, what are you playing at? Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. What? Why are you not believing in all of a sudden? A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago. The Professor. Objection! Started by indicting the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime. And now you've moved on to indicting waxworks? Yes, that's about the size of it. But why? And why this waxwork? Looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? There it is. If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. What? Just days before Professor Hairbrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tuspel's. Did you say abducted? And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Then the timing... Is this true, Mr. Drebber? At first I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage, as a body double for Mr. Asmund. Yeah. Oh, snap! Objection! Oh, now what's he gonna do? Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist? That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner, on a public stage in front of a vast audience? And that to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim? Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide?
Objection!
Hold on, bro. Oh no! Wait. Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord, I need to speak, if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Uh-oh. Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leadings for the court to hear now.
Guilty!
Yeah, what?
Guilty!
Because it's just so insane.
Guilty!
I don't think it was a good time to do the verdict. Did I say that's your voice?
Guilty!
Guilty. Okay, see if I can work with that voice. Because of how far-fetched the explanation is, they just went, he's guilty. I guess. So as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus. I knew that was going to happen. We shall get through this, Miss Naruto, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure. Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual, and see if I can persuade them to change their minds. The defense will now embark on a summation examination. We didn't even have to ask for it, they knew. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. Very well. In that case, I ask you now to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged. Alright, here we go. Summation. Examination. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. I've known that woman for years. She'd never been accomplice to anything. I tried. It's utter nonsense to think these two would ever be conniving with one another. Oh dear, this is most troubling. But surely the waxwork the man stole has nothing to do with the coroner, is it? I have had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much. Okay, what's that doing? I see no rigorous proof that this waxwork is ever inside the cage. It's conjecture. Yeah, Southern lawyer is the way to go with that guy. I may not be a big city lawyer. That's the way I was to do, okay. You're accusing someone who's accusing someone without right evidences. He's not a proper job, is he? I ain't have it. What was that one? Alright. Somewhat unsurprisingly, it seems that the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion. Given that its face is obscured and its build in no way resembles that of the victim, I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity at suggesting it as Mr. Asmund's body double. Yes, the applause is deafening, and yes, I know it seems extraordinary. But that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes. What are you thinking, Miss Naruto? I can't explain why at the moment, but I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used, why it had to be this model. Really? A reason why nothing else would do, you mean? Yes, and I'm convinced. It's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim. Well, if that's the case, we must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs. Yes, agreed. I have to find a way out of this. If you are ready, Counsel, you may proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Jury examination. The defense's rebuttal. Alright, well, let's go do some pressing now.
Hold it!
The order of things seems to have changed around here for some reason. I'm a copper, lad. It's a copper's discretion to bend the rules sometimes when needs must. What's wrong with that? Where do I start? I've been working at the yard for 40-odd years. That's even more than I thought. We've only had a metropolitan police service in town for 70 years, you know. Of course, times have changed. The public didn't trust coppers back when I started. It was rough. We had to fight crime, and we had to fight to win the public's trust as well. And when we did. Forensic science was in its infancy, too. Even more than it is now, and she spearheaded the revolution. Dr. Scythe, you mean? That's right. About 10 years ago now, it was when I was still a youngish Bobby on the beat. That's when she started making a name for herself as a top-class coroner. And now look at her, head of the forensic investigation team. And a woman, no less. Well, you won't hear me complain. It's what we all dreamt of back then, I tell you. Did you tell me without holding that gun in the air? We were all out to uphold justice, lad. Full of him, we were. Full of him. That's coming across loud and clear. Now it's this guy. It's other nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one another.
Hold it!
But we're only just starting to understand this case. What are you reading there, sir? The man behind those murders on Solar Pond Street was caught in 2 days flat. There's real policing for you. That's really not relevant to this case, is it? You're wrong there. Because it was Dr. Scythe in charge of examining the bodies. And it was evidence arising from her work that led to the arrest of the scoundrel responsible. Oh. That's right, oh. That woman is at the forefront of this country's fight against crime. The idea that she's somehow involved in this murky business is a load of old tosh. I thought it was up to me to press the jurors, not the other way around. Oh dear, this is most troubling. But surely the waxwork the man stole has nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
Hold it!
Why would you assume that? Well, quite simply because that unsettling swindler has no relationship with the woman, does he? True, as it stands, we don't know of any connection. Oh gosh, but it would be delightfully romantic if they were somehow to have a mutual interest in the waxwork. Romantic? A woman of society such as myself views everything in terms of relationships, you know. Well, you learn something new every day, even if you don't want to. One might wonder about a possible relationship between the defendant and this coroner woman. Or perhaps between the defendant and the handsome prosecutor just there. Oh, she caught that one. This woman may be more astute than I've been giving her credit for. If that's the woman's stance, then perhaps demonstrating some connection between the waxwork and Dr. Scythe would be enough. Yes, I agree. As soon as we have even a whiff of a connection, she'll be the first to know. I'm a magician. Okay, well, really quick, history. I want to read that again. Defendant and the coroner. Prosecutor and the defendant. What's the other one? Oh yeah, if Drebber and her and the coroner know each other too. The coroner and the defendant might know each other?
Hold it!
Is that what sort of problems? Let's just say we have run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street. Right, I see. Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners, and the like. But the police use any excuse to make our lives difficult. Oh, there it is. We'll see about that next time. Sometimes they even cook up a story to extort monies from the poor. Well, that's definitely not right. Yes, and it is why I say that if you trust the police, you will have trouble. But here you are, claiming this waxwork model was stolen To start an illusionary spectacular? The idea is so wild, I think I will take my chances and believe the authorities on this occasion. This is how the public at large view Scotland Yard, is it? Our own police force in Tokyo is not even 20 years old yet, is it? Perhaps we should view what's happened here in London as a measure of what may happen at home. Yes, like a Scotland Yardstick. What? I wonder how a policeman would feel listening to the way this juror speaks about the force. Nice clue there. I'm sure he'd have a word or two to say in response. So we'll do it again. Go back.
Hold it!
Okay, what sort of problem? So click through. Click, 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 click. Clickety click, click, click. There it is. That is hella dangerous right there. Wow. Pursue.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. You have something to say in response to that, Mr. Ottermole? Ottermole? That's his name? Who you calling a mass murder? What? Who you calling a mass murder? Yeah, I gotta older it up. Oh, sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like him. Oh, right, yeah. I forgot about that. I don't look like anything like that, man. You want to be locked up, sonny? Thanks, Mr. Sholmes. Perhaps we can move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 just said. And clearly you do. Back in my day, back in that good old days, it wasn't like this. What was it like, sir? We worked our fingers to the bone during the public stress, we did. And by Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then. Respected you? Huh. No one would have called a coroner into question in them days. A coroner's report was the hallmark of an investigation done right. Especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put her name on it. Courtney Stevens. Right, she wasn't always a scythe. She was the best of the best, and the apple of the force's eye. Hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens? Sorry, I got a bit carried away there. Stevens is Dr. Scythe's maiden name. Her maiden name? So that was before she was married. Of course, yes, silly me, it's Scythe now, isn't it? Stevens. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere recently. Yeah, it's on the corner thing. Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing, not like now. Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you could change your statement to include that name? Well, yes, I don't see why not. She was Courtney Stevens back when I knew her, of course. A legendary coroner even then.
Hold it!
She was legendary, was she? What did you say? Huh? That woman is still the best coroner in the land. Head of the forensic investigation team. Legendary was your description, sir, not mine. Rubbish. That word never passed my lips. I never describe anybody that way, ever. Not if they were still in the game. I think the point you're trying to make is that Dr. Scythe is an extremely talented coroner. Would that be fair? It would. If it weren't for the fact that you're trying to drag that legendary woman's reputation through the mud. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that legendary. 2 people left. I see no rigorous. Okay, I see no rigorous proof that this fat waxwork has ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture. Let's go with.
Hold it!
Big shit alone. But you claimed the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick. That I did, but there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there? Sorry? I grant you, given that this cage appeared from midst an explosion, have been no need to use a real person. But if a waxwork had been used, the culprit could at least have had the decency to make it look like the victim. I'm I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency. The point is, if you're going to make a claim about the waxwork being inside the cage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just not science. I suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. But that perhaps means his mind could be changed if we manage to present suitable evidence. Evidence that the professor's waxwork was inside that birdcage? Did I produce that or not? Check! Let's take a look. Problem is, this isn't the birdcage we're looking for. This guy was in the birdcage we're looking for, right? Oh, we're wrong. Go back, go back, go back. We don't have the second birdcage is the issue. We only got the one birdcage. Can I look at this? What is it? Look at this. Until we can open the mask, there's nothing we can do, huh? I don't think we have proof right now, do we? I don't think we do. I don't think we do. Well, I can state quite categorically, sir, that we have no such evidence at the present time. That much was abundantly clear before that brassy proclamation, I assure you. And why can't you can count on the fact that I shan't be changing my leaning. Oh dear, that proclamation was even brassier than yours, Mr. Naruhodo. If only we had some evidence. Things might be different, though. Well, what would be the cause of that? Accusing someone without right evidence is not a proper job, is it? I won't have it. I don't even know what this voice is meant to be, but I'm trying. I'm gonna ask, why have you brought that corn into court with you? Colonel Khan, he's been growing back on the farm. Picked him off on my way into town. He's a proper nibbler, he is. Yes, the nibbling seems to be taking quite a while. Maybe it could wait until after the trial? Oh, I don't like the sound of that. You need colonels at times like these. Whenever I've some big to decide, the colonels always point me in the right directions, you see. You're talking about your corn of the cob? Nibble, nobble, guilty, bobble. Nibble, not guilty, but out. What? Nibble, nobble, guilty, bobble. Nibble, not guilty, out. Oh my god, what the hell? Okay, we're just gonna let that go. Just gonna let that go right now. Nibble, nobble, guilty. What the hell was she even? Okay. Guilty bobble, guilty bobble. What the fuck? Perhaps it's akin to fortune telling with flower petals, like people do back home. So Professor Hairgrain's fate is to be decided by a cob of corn? Could you not at least wait until we've had more time to find the truth before deciding on the defendant's guilt? Oh, I don't know about that. My tum's awfully full already. Amazing. Dude, you did not. I know it seems a little far-fetched to think that the waxwork model of the professor was in that birdcage. But on the other hand, it explains a lot. If there really is a reason why that particular waxwork had to be used as Mr. Asmon's double, we must do everything we can to make the jurors understand it. The truth is, I'm sure that's the key to this, but it's the most puzzling part of it, too. In that case, you should see what additional information you can glean while trying to change the jurors' minds. If you can read a book whilst eating a rice cracker, Miss Naruhodo, I'm sure you can do this. What? Right, yes, what? The only thing I can hit is this one right here. So... Or can we not present this? No, we can't present it, so who do we put this in Yeah, she's on this. Courtney Stevens. So, how do I bring that up? Do some pitting. I don't think those two would ever be conniving with one another. Waxwork's nothing but the coroner. Don't trust the police. There's proof that the waxwork was ever inside the cage. He's right evidences. He's not a proper job. He's not one of it. She was Courtney Stevens when I knew her. Of course, I listened to her corner even then. Okay, I know... Okay, let's go with that. Let's pit these two. We have a connection here. Let's do it. This should work. Go.
Objection.
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious. To whose statements do you refer, Counsel? So, juror number 2. Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you? I presume that you heard what juror number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Scythe, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before. Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. But oh golly, I'm afraid I fail to see what you mean. Dr. Scythe's maiden name is Stevens. And through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it. My goodness, evidence you say? How utterly enthralling. Counsel, the court cannot overlook that last remark. I very much hope there is substance to your claim. Of course, my lord. I would ask that the court be to look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Scythe to the mass murder known as the Professor. Present the autopsy. I have a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago. A 10-year-old autopsy report? What relevance does that have? It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork, the killer known as the Professor. The Professor's? But the man was a capital offender, so... That's right. This is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. But what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens. Oh my! Courtney Stevens? Strike a light! It appears that the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Scythe 10 years ago. And a few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor from the Madame Tuspels. A waxwork that doesn't in fact resemble the victim, Mr. Asman, at all. And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between these events? Absolutely, I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the professor case is at the heart of a link that we have yet to uncover between Dr. Courtney Scythe and Dr. Enoch Drebber. Hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. This is almost extraordinary. We're surely obliged now to explore this further. Alright, we got one on white. Alright. Need 3 more. Alright, we can't let this trial come to an end now. Not while there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the yard's best coroner. It wasn't like this in my day, but we're still here to uphold justice in the end. Okay, I like that better. I like that voice better. I gotta remember next episode is the issue. It's a professor. That's what links that frightful swindling with the coroner. She's so happy about it. I know it seems a little far-fetched to think that the waxwork model of the professor was in the birdcage, but on the other hand, it explains a lot. But there really is a reason why that particular waxwork you had to be used as Mr. Asman's double. We must do everything we can to make the jurors understand it. The truth is, I'm sure... Okay, we did read this before. I was trying to figure out if I read it before. If the odd corn is under suspicion, then we're not done here yet, are we? Clearly. Okay, one trusts the police, one doesn't, but is that good enough? Scum save. That's all I got, scum save. Well, let's try. I'm gonna try to put these two against each other.
Objection!
Those two statements are fundamentally at odds with one another. Well, Mr. Foreman? There's to be a new Sherlock Holmes adventure published next month, by the looks. My lord, the foreman of the jury isn't listening. Is that so? Well, I shall have to reserve myself a copy at the local newsagent in that case. Mrs. Otto, no one is listening to what I'm saying. Perhaps this would be a good opportunity to have a rethink then, Mr. Naruto. Fear not, my learned friend. I heard every sorry word. It sounds like I'm on the wrong track here. I better think again. Let's try instead these two?
Objection!
Those two statements are fundamentally at odds with one another. Well, Mr. Foreman? Oh my god, Do we have evidence? That's the thing we need right here. Is we need evidence to push this guy forward. Let's try. I actually have something I'd like you to see, sir. Oh? I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. So given your jet black outfit, I don't mind admitting to a sense of trepidation here. So you don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying. I do have some evidence that proves the waxwork was inside the birdcage, namely... Do I? Oh, there it is! Fudge! Yeah. Professor Waxwork. Do it!
Take that!
Right about that. I should have read the evidence more. What's that, a piece of glass? Though it's unusually thick for glass. Yes, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket on the waxwork. As you say, it's not ordinary glass, though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength. Much like the special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower. Holy smokes! Exactly, the centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, where the very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through a window of that special glass. From whence this small piece originated, is that it? Precisely. So, what do you say? Now the clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed before you. Well, as I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reason is sound, it's fair to say color shouldn't come into it. In light of what you've shown me here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter. In that case, juror number 4, you will amend your statement now, please. The presence of that piece of glass leaves me in little doubt that the waxwork was indeed inside the birdcage. Okay, who can I use that against is the question. Thank you for reconsidering your position, sir. Your words are misplaced, boy. My opinion is governed by logic and science and nothing else. Yes, science is where you should direct your words of gratitude. Ah. Hmm? Huh? What's the matter with you? Too good to say some words of thanks to the mother of all academic subjects? What is it about scientists, honestly? Good question. But who is it in conflict with? Is it in conflict with her? Well, I guess I gotta save now that I found that. We're 2 down, but I'm not gonna redo all that. Okay, so... is it him and her in conflict here? You put the paper down? Go back. Paper's back up. Okay, I see. Either her or him. Let's go with him.
Objection.
These two statements are fundamentally at odds with one another. Well, Mr. Form... oh, God. Okay, so it is him and the girl. Okay.
Objection.
There it is. Yeah, it is them. These two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious. To whose statements do you refer, Consul? If you could put down your corn for a moment, juror number 5. No. Huh? You mean me? You pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence. But the accusation that the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is not without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated to the juror sitting beside you. Oh, is that right? Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument? I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest. Of course you don't. If I could interject here. Please do, sir. Now that this assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it would be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further. There we go. Does that move her to do it too? Oh, well, me too then. Oh my god. Sorry? If this Brandon gentleman says he's right, then he must be. See, I wouldn't dream of going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuffing between the ears. Yay. I'm sorry, but this bumpkin is really annoying. Success, if you can call it that. Not caring for this corn chick. Thank you, Consul. That will do. As a result of the summation examination, the juries of our leading has changed. 2 jurors are now called guilty against 4 who call not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus at this time, and the trial must continue. We did it! Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Another wonderful victory. Rob. A waxwork of the despicable professor. Used as a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation. It's the waxwork of the professor that links Mr. Trevor and Dr. Scythe. And I'm convinced that there's a special significance to that link. I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't. The truth, sir, by using evidence and testimony. Huh. If the court is to delve deep into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case, then the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness. Madam to spell? The owner? Madam to spells. I really thought that Lord Von Zeeks would object to this whole line of inquiry. Very well, I concur. Make arrangements for Madame Dispels to appear as a witness with immediate effect. Listen carefully, my learned friend. Oh, yes? You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box. The court shall now adjourn for 45 minutes. During that time, the prosecution will summon the new witness and prepare her for taking the stand. I doubt anyone can just get there in 45 minutes. Madame Dispels, yes? I shall see to it at once, my lord. Time to deliver presents. To be continued. I knew that was going to be the continue point, which is why it was okay to just keep going. Alright, next time we do the next part of this, obviously. So that right there is the game for now. I have fun up here from watching. That's what's up, as it. Having fun. Let's come by, and I'll see you next time.